Vice President Leni Robredo on Friday buried her senatorial slate with the 12th pick still being under deliberation. Former Bayan Muna representative and senatorial aspirant Neri Colmenares is among those being considered for the final spot. He's joining us this afternoon. Again, we have Attorney Colmenares himself via Zoom. Sir, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Riza. Good afternoon to your viewers.
Sir, thank you for joining us first and foremost. We'd like to get your immediate reaction upon when Vice President Robredo announced her senatorial slate.
Well, Riza, I recognize the fact that it's the prerogative of the vice president, being the presidential candidate, to choose her own senatorial slate. So I guess she felt that it is to the interest of her candidacy not to include me as of now, at least. So that's her right. So I guess I have to respect that right of the vice president being the presidential candidate of the opposition. So yeah, it's her choice.
Sure, but were you expecting to be included?
Well, we were hoping to be included, of course, and we just wanted to discuss with the vice president the platforms first, of course, because the issue of platform is very important for Makabayan. The inclusion in the slate is, of course, half of the battle, so to speak. But it's not merely about what's in it for me. It's also an issue of what's in it for the people. Our constituents in Makabayan are the farmers, the workers, the urban poor, and the indigenous people, and so on. And they would really like to know the platform of the vice president in her presidential run, or any other presidential candidate for that matter. So that's very important for us. And since we haven't had the chance to discuss with the vice president issues of platform of Makabayan and the platform of the vice president, so that we can at least find commonalities in the platform. We are not absolutist naman that all of our platform will be, she would agree to that. Otherwise, makabayan na lang siya, no? But at least we can have a sit down and discuss it. And that didn't happen. So I guess that's one of the reasons probably that we probably need to talk first with her regarding that platform.
So, sir, just to clarify, attorney, there are no talks yet, as of today, between you and the camp of Vice President Leni Robredo.
Well, there had been talks before that, and they informed me, representatives of the vice president informed me that I'm being considered, and that but there are some objections from some quarters in her slate. So they're still trying to probably to resolve that. So, but then probably they weren't able to resolve that. That's why I wasn't included when she announced her senatorial slate yesterday. Yesterday, yes.
So, sir, do you have any idea on perhaps when they would have that final confirmation, that announcement on that last slot?
Well, I wouldn't know, Riza, actually, because of course it's their, as I mentioned, it's their prerogative, and they can select from among any of those they feel should be in the slate. For us in Makabayan, while it is very important to be part of the presidential slate, if of course if there's no presidential candidate who will discuss platform or select us for the slate, we will still campaign against President Duterte and the Marcoses, of course. Makabayan has 3.5 million members all over the country because of our party list groups. We have a national machinery, a national campaign machinery of dedicated activists and individuals. These are not paid campaigners, so they did really very working hard during the campaign period. And of course, social media being one of the more important aspects of this coming election. Our hundreds of thousands of members all over the country can also be a powerful social media force. At the same time, we have trained poll watchers. So all of this machinery and our support, we will throw against the candidate of the candidates of President Duterte and the Marcoses. So we will still be in the campaign. We will make sure that the opposition wins in 2022 and the administration loses in 2022.
Attorney, with that being said, are you in the liberty to tell us on who are, or rather, who among the aspirants, the presidential aspirants, will the Makabayan bloc be endorsing in the upcoming polls?
Well, before Vice President Leni announced her candidacy, the presidential teams, campaign teams, of course, have discussed matters with us. And we're very grateful with that because that is a consideration also of the strength and the credibility of Makabayan to be part of the talks with other presidential candidates. So we've had talks already with Mayor Isko and Senator Manny Pacquiao with regards to platforms, and they've discussed their platform. They haven't given us their written platform yet, but more or less they gave us an idea of what they will do when they become president. And the only remaining candidate as of now that we haven't spoken with is the vice president. And we hope, because she did mention that the 12th slot is still open and talks are ongoing, that we will be able to discuss with her certain issues. You see, very important sa amin, what is your position on contractualization? For example, what is your position on agrarian reform, land reform, lands for the farmers? Issues on the West Philippine Sea, for example, accountability of those human rights violators, and issues on the ICC, for example. All these form part of our platform, and we would like to know the position of the presidential candidate. So we've spoken to the Senator Maninga and Mayor Isko on this issue. So we need kasi to settle this issue of platform, because when we go to our constituents, the farmers, the workers, and so on, we need to tell them also, we cannot just order them and say, you campaign for this candidate. They will also ask what's in it for the Filipino people. So we need to tell them, oh, this presidential candidate agrees with land reform, for example, agrees that we should stop this policy of kowtowing to China and have the marine resources, the West Philippine Sea, given to the Filipino people. So all these things gel into that. That's why crucial sa amin yun. And we've managed to speak with almost three of the presidential candidates, except that in the case of VP Robredo, we were able to talk to her representatives. We haven't yet sat down with her formally to discuss her platform.
Attorney, you mentioned earlier yung kakayanan nga po na Makabayan bloc sa paparating na kampanya. But your inclusion, or let's say exclusion, in the senatorial slate of Vice President Robredo, will this be of any effect?
Definitely, all these factors, the slate, the platform, the issues that we can have commonalities with, all these, and of course the reciprocity, the mutual support, and all this stuff will play a large part in the decision of Makabayan. So just like any other political party, it's very important for us. It's difficult for us, just like like any other candidate na na-include na ako sa slate, so okay na ako. It's not merely an issue, sabi ko nga, what's in it for me, but it's also on what is it for the Filipino people, what is in it for them. Kaya yun lang naman ang isang hinihingi. Makabayan, I think it's very reasonable. It's not unreasonable for a political party to discuss with any presidential candidate or even senatorial or even local candidates. Kasi you see, issue ito ng platforms dapat, issue ito ng anong mga posisyon mo sa bagay-bagay. If candidates will not say their platform or the issues, their stand, so ang eleksyon, magiging batayan na lang dyan. Sinong gwapo? Sino ang mga artista o sino yung magaling, di ba? Marte or whatever. So kung pagwapuhan na lang yan, Risa, di talo na ako doon. Wala na akong laban doon. But the issue of platform is very important. So all these things will matter in our decision.
Attorney, final question. Will you be open to, let's say, teaming up with other presidential aspirants tulad na lang po niya, Senator Manny Pacquiao or perhaps kay Calio de Guzman?
All the presidential candidates, as long as they're opposing President Duterte and the Marcoses, we would be happy to talk with them with regards platforms and issues and so on. As I mentioned, that's very important for us. So, but as long as we will not talk, of course, to the Duterte and the Marcoses. That is the boundary there. As long as you are a candidate against the Marcoses and the Dutertes, we will talk with you, and hopefully they would also talk with us.
Well, Atty. Colmenares, we'd like to thank you for sharing with us your time and your insights this afternoon. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat din po.